This is 5 Eyewitness News at 10.
An autistic teen banned from church. Now, a judge agrees.
I think it gives a green light to use a restraining order against anyone with a disability.
A major medical mistake, then an apology. We're digging into the guidelines established in Minnesota and catching on nationwide.
A rash of attacks in a St. Paul neighborhood. The victims, people with disabilities. The victims say they're easy targets and the attackers are taking advantage. Good evening, everyone. I'm John Mason.
Now, all the victims had one thing in common. They were all disabled.
Yeah, it makes me mad, all right.
Nancy Wise has every right to be mad. Walking home from a bus stop last Wednesday night, a man snatched her bag filled with books right from her walker.
She was walking, and all of a sudden he just took off and raced up and grabbed my bag out of there and took off.
Then 2 nights later, on the very same block,
I was probably on the ground. They were kicking the hell out of me.
David Hans was beat up by 5 men who left him with a black eye, broken collarbone, and many bumps and bruises.
Well, I think the community needs to do something about this, and I think the police need to step it up a little bit.
And again, on the same block this past weekend, another man was attacked. All of the victims live inside the Lewis Park apartments for the disabled. It's got residents here wondering who may be next.
We are easy targets because we can't move as fast. And we don't have, a lot of people don't know self-defense or anything like that.
The attackers didn't demand money, which makes it even harder to understand why someone would target the disabled.
No, I don't think people are using their heads, especially those ones that just get up and start hurting people left and right.
Now, police have no identity of the suspects, so they're not sure if these crimes are connected or they're just coincidence. We're live in St. Paul tonight. Chris O'Connell, 5 Eyewitness News.
Chris, thanks. 1 man is in jail tonight. 2 others may soon face criminal charges for repeatedly raping a pregnant woman. 20-year-old Lord Kendrick is charged with first-degree criminal sexual conduct. A 21-year-old man and a juvenile were also arrested but then released until prosecutors could review the evidence. Police say a 22-year-old woman who is 6 months pregnant was walking to a store on June 14th when she was forced into a car and driven to a garage on Cook Avenue. Police say that inside that garage, at least 2 men raped her while the others watched. The suspect's neighbor had no idea a crime had been committed.
You can't distinguish between them hollering at each other just talking or somebody hollering for help. And that's where I felt bad at, because if I was here, I could have heard her.
The victim managed to escape the garage and run away. She reported the rape 6 days later, which police say is common for women who have been traumatized.
A judge today sides with a church banning an autistic child from attending Mass. But tonight, the parents of the autistic teen in Bertha say the judge's ruling gives a green light to exclude people with disabilities. Steve Shaw talked to them in Todd County today.
The restraining order claims that 13-year-old Adam Race, who now stands 6 feet and more than 225 pounds, has become dangerous and disruptive to parishioners here in this church.
I'm shocked and disappointed. Very disappointed.
Adam Race's mother, Carol, says her fight with the church she loves isn't over.
I think it gives a green light to use a restraining order against anyone with a disability that makes noises or motions or whatever that are distractive.
In her ruling handed down Tuesday, Todd County District Judge Sally Robertson called Adam Race's involuntary bouts of bad behavior, which has included urinating in church pews, repeated, unwanted, and intrusive, and that the Church of St. Joseph is justified in keeping him out.
Repeated, sure. My son has autism. There's no question about it. Unwanted, I can't help the way people feel about others with disabilities.
Everybody has a right to go to church.
Adam Race's father, John, for the first time Tuesday, addressed his son's plight.
He is very different, and, they can't just make judgments based on, how a normal person would act.
Are you mad at the church?
No. I love the church. I'm upset a little bit with this particular parish and this particular parish priest, but the church is a whole lot bigger than St. Joseph's in Bertha.
But there may be some common ground here. The Race family says while they're going to pursue an attorney, they're also going to take the church up on its offer at more mediation. in Bertha. Steve Shaw, 5 Eyewitness News.
An Oakdale man gets 26 years in prison for shooting a police officer and another man last fall. A judge sentences Israel Anderson today on numerous charges, including attempted murder. Prosecutors say Anderson fired several shots after a friend got into a fight at a Minneapolis bar last November. At least one of the shots hit Officer Dan Grossland and a student, Jeffrey Houston. Grossland suffered a shattered ankle.
The state health department weighs in today on a major medical mistake. Doctors at a Twin Cities hospital removed the wrong kidney, leaving a cancerous one still inside the patient. Mark Albert is live with the report now and new information on how Minnesota leads the nation when it comes to admitting mistakes. Mark?
And Leah, for years, some hospitals said everything but "I'm sorry," fearing those two words would open them up to lawsuits. Part Nicollet did say "I'm sorry" when this happened and took action to prevent it from happening again. And today the hospital avoided state punishment.
A Minnesota Department of Health report released Tuesday shows a Park Nicollet Methodist Hospital doctor in St. Louis Park removed the wrong kidney because he was essentially too busy. The report says the doctor was overbooked and pestered by numerous beeper calls that distracted him.
The policies of the hospital certainly had a number of measures built into it that should have prevented this from happening.
But the health department will not punish the hospital because investigators found Methodist already took steps to prevent it from happening again.
This is a tragic error, and Park Nicollet assumes full responsibility. We've apologized to the patient and to the family.
That apology came in March. State law requires hospitals to report major medical mistakes. But the Minnesota Hospitals Association urges facilities to go further by offering regret and apologize for the mistake. The Minnesota guidelines are so groundbreaking, the American Hospitals Association now uses them as a model for hospitals nationwide. Children's Hospitals of Minnesota helped write them.
They want to hear the truth, and they want acknowledgement of the error, and they want an apology. And just those steps opens the door to further conversation. And in fact, in a much less adversarial way.
That's good. I can do it there. And you can listen to our entire interview with Dr. Goldblum or read the state's investigative report on our website at KSTP.com. The cancer patient in this story has been treated at another hospital. Live in the newsroom, Mark Albert, 5 Eyewitness News.
Thanks, Mark. There is a growing memorial tonight at the scene of 2 deadly accidents in Freeborn County near Austin. We told you last night a mother of 3 was killed Sunday morning when the vehicle she was riding in hit the stretch of washed out road. The same spot where a man died in the same way nearly 3 weeks ago. The road was barricaded, but investigators found one of the barricades had been moved. The Freeborn County administrator says a resident went to the county concerned about whether the sign was enough to protect people, but the board never formally discussed it.
Hopes of saving St. Paul's Ford Ranger plant are growing dimmer tonight. Newest numbers show that the truck lost popularity last month. In June, Ford sold fewer than 5,000 Rangers nationwide. That's down nearly 3,000 from the same time last year. All of the automakers felt this hit too. Overall, Ford sales dropped nearly 28% in June. General Motors performed the best, but sales were still down 18%. Toyota saw sales drop 21%. Experts blame 2 factors: a slow economy and high gas prices.
High gas prices are driving people to do this, spend hours in line. Coming up, a pre-holiday gift for drivers and the long wait to get it. Plus.
And he knows the opportunity is there. I mean, he's not stupid.
Well, will he or won't he? We have some insight tonight on whether you'll see Jesse Ventura's name on the ballot.
And the large salmonella outbreak moves into Minnesota, and tainted tomatoes may not be to blame.
These crowds coming out, we're going to get back.
New home video showing the moments just after 2 medical helicopters collided in the air on Sunday, and this is all that was left. Pieces of mangled metal strewn in a forest just outside Flagstaff, Arizona. 6 people were killed, 1 person survived, listed tonight in critical condition.
Embers from a bonfire may have started this fire that ended up destroying a home in Orono. The upper levels were fully engulfed by the time firefighters got to the scene on West Branch Road around 1:30 this afternoon. They fought the fire for more than 4 hours in temperatures near 90 degrees. One of the toughest parts of fighting this fire today was keeping the crews hydrated and fighting heat exhaustion. There are now 810 reported cases of salmonella in the United States, with new cases right here in Minnesota.
And the twist tonight, after weeks of warning about tomatoes, the government and health officials now admit they may not be the source at all.
The body scanner, which sees through clothing, will be used on international travelers in Detroit. The person who sees you go through the machine doesn't actually read the scan. That person is in another room. You can refuse the scan, but then you'll get a pat down.
Choices.
Yeah, it's exciting traveling these days. Weather a little bit more calm, not so